I never wanted to be at that party. The 10th anniversary gala for Ever in Dynamics in San Diego felt like a world I didn't belong. To a glittering ballroom with crystal chandeliers casting diamond lights on polished floors, champagne flowing like rivers, and elegant music weaving through conversations about deals and dividends. I, Caleb Reed, a low-level project coordinator, sat quietly near the back door, tugging at my old gray shirt and wrinkled pants. I wasn't planning to come, but my 8-year-old daughter Lila had begged me, "Dad, go have fun. Maybe you'll meet someone who makes you smile again." Then Clarissa Weller, our CEO, stepped onto the stage amid applause. Her blonde hair was pinned up perfectly, her hand holding a champagne flute she hadn't touched. She was the untouchable force behind 400 employees, always composed, always in control. She thanked the team in her crisp voice, then paused, scanning the room. Her eyes landed on me for no reason I could fathom, and she lifted the microphone with a slight smile. "Caleb Reed, would you like to marry me?" Laughter erupted like fireworks. The whole hall of 300 people turned staring at me as if I were the punchline of the night. Whispers rippled. "Who's that guy? A poor sap?" But I didn't laugh. Something in her gaze, maybe amusement, maybe challenge, pulled me to my feet. I walked through the crowd, their eyes boring into me up to the stage. "If I said yes," I replied, looking straight into her eyes, "what then?" The room fell silent. Clarissa hesitated, her smile freezing for a split second before she recovered. "Well, we'd have to run it by HR first." Uneasy chuckles followed. She stepped down quickly, and I returned to my seat, ignored once more. But inside something shifted, not embarrassment, but a quiet spark. For the first time in years, someone had seen me. After the gala, I drove home through the quiet San Diego streets, the city's lights blurring like distant stars. My small apartment in a modest building near the bay was dark when I arrived, the only sound the faint hum of the fridge. Lila was already asleep, her babysitter slipping out with a quick nod. I peeked into her room, my 8-year-old curled up with her worn teddy bear, the one Sarah had given her as a baby. Her breathing was soft, peaceful, a reminder of why I kept going. I kissed her forehead, whispering, "Good night, kiddo," before collapsing on the couch. That joke from Clarissa Weller lingered in my mind like an echo I couldn't shake. Why me? Out of 300 people, why pick the guy in the back row? I wasn't angry, more puzzled. At 38, I was just a single dad scraping by as a project coordinator at Ever in Dynamics. My days were spreadsheets and emails, nothing glamorous. But life hadn't always been this way. 4 years ago, I was a software engineer climbing the ladder at the company. Sarah and I had dreams, a house by the beach, maybe another kid. Then the accident, a drunk driver on the freeway, and she was gone. Lila was 4, barely understanding. I quit my high-stress role, took the demotion for flexible hours. Who had time for ambition when your world shattered? I poured a glass of water, trying to push the evening aside, when my phone buzzed, an anonymous email at 2 a.m. "Stay away from her. You don't know what you're stepping into." No sender, no signature. I stared at it, heart quickening. A prank from a co-worker. Someone jealous of the spotlight. I deleted it, but sleep didn't come easy. The next morning, I dropped Lila at school, her backpack slung over one shoulder. "Did you have fun at the party, Dad?" she asked, eyes wide. "Yeah, sweetie, met some interesting people." I forced a smile, not mentioning the chaos. Monday hit like a wave. I buried myself in work coordinating timelines for a new app rollout when an email from Clarissa's assistant popped up, "Meeting in her office now." My stomach dropped, fired probably. I walked the long hall to the executive floor, past glass walls and bustling VPs. Her office was sleek, ocean views, minimalist desk, no personal touches. Clarissa sat there, looking composed in a tailored suit, but her eyes were tired. "About the gala," she started, gesturing for me to sit. "That was unprofessional. I apologize." I nodded, relieved but curious. "I get it, but why me out of everyone. She leaned back, fingers drumming the desk. For a moment, the CEO mask slipped. Honestly, you were the only one not faking it. No sycophantic grin. No fear. Just real. We talked longer than expected, about the pressure of leading 400 people, the endless board meetings that left her drained. I shared bits too, the isolation of single parenting nights wondering if I was enough for Lila. It's like carrying a weight you can't put down, I said. She nodded, understanding flickering in her eyes. Exactly. 2 divorces, no kids, sometimes I envy the simplicity. Before I left, she asked, "How do you take your coffee?" "Black, no sugar." She smiled faintly, the first real one I'd seen. Same as me. 2 days later, on impulse, I invited her to Lila's school science fair. It's nothing fancy, but Lila's excited about her volcano project. I regretted it immediately. Why would a CEO care? But she replied, "I'd love to." "What time?" She showed up in a dark blazer, standing out amid the chaotic gym full of kids and parents. Lila beamed as Clarissa knelt to her level, asking about the baking soda reaction like it was groundbreaking tech. "That's brilliant," Clarissa said, high-fiving her. Lila glowed. That night my phone lit up. "Thank you for inviting me. It's the most genuine thing I've done in months. From Clarissa." I replied, "Lila adored you." Her response, "The feeling's mutual." A warmth spread through me, unfamiliar after years of numbness. But that anonymous email nagged at the back of my mind like a shadow I couldn't quite shake. What had I stepped into Friday morning came too soon, with the sun slicing through my apartment blinds like a reminder that life didn't pause for confusion. I dropped Lila at school, her chatter about Clarissa's visit still echoing in my ears, then headed to Everin Dynamics. My desk felt the same, cluttered with notes and a cold coffee mug, but an email from HR changed everything. Temporary reassignment to internal project controls. It was a lateral move buried in paperwork and audits, the kind of job no one fought for. I figured it was routine, maybe even a quiet promotion after the gala buzz. But as I settled into the new role, sifting through access logs and system permissions, a nagging doubt crept in. The office was quieter here, tucked away on a lower floor with flickering fluorescents and the hum of servers. My first task was auditing network access for the executive team standard protocol to flag anomalies. I logged in, scanning folders labeled with cryptic codes. One caught my eye. Clara. 9. No password prompt. It opened like it had been left unlocked by mistake. Curiosity pulled me in, and what I found froze me in my chair. Inside were financial reports spanning 3 years dense with numbers that didn't add up, offshore accounts, anonymous investments funneling into a rival company's takeover. It wasn't just aggressive business. It screamed illegality, the kind that could trigger federal investigations, stock crashes, and ruin lives. Hidden memos outlined contingency funds, siphoned from company reserve signatures, forged or absent. My hands shook as I scrolled. This wasn't my level. I was a coordinator, not a whistleblower. I hit escape, heart pounding, but the damage was done. Less than 20 minutes later, my phone rang an unknown number. I answered, voice steady, despite the knot in my gut. "Hello," a low, distorted voice replied. "You should worry more about your daughter than digging into things that aren't yours." The line went dead. I stared at the screen, blood rushing in my ears. Lila. How did they know about her? Panic surged. I grabbed my keys, mind racing to her school, but I forced myself to breathe, to think. This wasn't random. It tied to that folder. Someone was watching, and I tripped a wire. By afternoon, another blow, an email from security. "Access revoked. Report to HR immediately." No explanation. I marched to the HR office, where a stern manager informed me of my suspension pending investigation for unauthorized system access. What I was doing my job, I protested, but she just shook her head. "Orders from above. Go home, Mr. Reed." Above Clarissa, I tried calling her office, but her assistant blocked me. "Ms. Weller is unavailable." Texts went unread. Whispers followed me out, coworkers glancing sideways, murmuring about that guy from the gala now in trouble. Paranoia set in. Was this her doing? Had our conversations been a setup? That night, rain hammered the windows as I paced my living room. Lila was at a sleepover with a friend, her first in months, and the emptiness amplified my fear. I replayed everything: the anonymous email after the gala, the unlocked folder, the call. It smelled like a cover-up. Who benefited from Clara 9, not Clarissa? The docs implicated her indirectly, but the real puppet master seemed deeper in the shadows. Around midnight, a shadow moved outside my window, a figure in the rain lingering near my car. I froze, phone in hand, ready to dial 911. They vanished into the storm, but sleep evaded me. I hugged Lila's teddy bear she'd left on the couch, vowing to protect her. By dawn, resolve hardened I couldn't run. I'd copied the files to a USB before logging out. Insurance or stupidity. Now it was my only leverage. I debated confronting Clarissa directly. Did she know about Clara 9? Was she part of it? Or a victim? Trusting her felt risky, but ignoring this could endanger Lila. As the sun rose, I decided I'd find a way to get the drive to her, force the truth out. If she was innocent, we'd expose it together. If not, I'd shield my daughter no matter the cost. The game had started, and I was in too deep to back out. That afternoon, rain started falling. As I pulled up to Lila's school, my mind a storm of its own. I spotted Clarissa standing under an awning near the entrance, her dark coat pulled tight against the chill. She looked out of place among the minivans and chatting parents, but there she was, waiting as I'd asked in my desperate text. Meet me at Lila's school. It's urgent. I stepped out, clutching the USB like a lifeline, water dripping from my hood. She approached, her expression guarded. Caleb, what's this about? I handed her the drive without preamble. This is everything I found in Clara 9. I'm not betraying you. Someone set me up to look like I was. Please just look at it! Her fingers closed around it, hesitation flickering in her eyes. You realize accessing that could get you arrested. I didn't go looking for it. The folder was unlocked like bait. And after the threats started, I glanced around, paranoia itching at my neck. A call about Lila. Someone's watching. Clarissa's face hardened, but she nodded. I'll review it, alone. She turned to leave, but paused. If this is real, thank you for trusting me enough to bring it. I watched her drive off, rain streaking her car windows, wondering if I'd just made the biggest mistake of my life. Hours later, as night deepened and Lila played with her dolls in the living room, a knock echoed at my door. I peered through the peephole. Clarissa soaked her blazer, clinging like a second skin. No umbrella in sight. I opened it quickly, ushering her in. What are you doing here? It's pouring! She stepped inside, water pooling at her feet. Her usual composure cracked. I looked at the files. All of them. Her voice trembled, not from cold, but rage. You're right. It's worse than I imagined. I grabbed a towel from the bathroom, draping it over her shoulders. Tell me. She sank onto the couch, eyes distant. Clara 9 was a project I killed 2 years ago, too risky, too close to the edge of legality. Offshore funds for a takeover that could have backfired spectacularly. I thought the files were destroyed, but Mark Hensley, my CFO, he kept them, manipulated them. Those signatures, some are forged in my name. He's been siphoning money, building a case to oust me, maybe even frame me for fraud. Mark, the slick executive with the perpetual smirk, always hovering in meetings. It clicked the anonymous email, the unlocked folder. He set the trap for me to find it, then pinned the breach on me to discredit you further. She nodded, shivering. And the threats, probably his doing or someone he hired to scare you off. I paced, anger boiling. We can't let him get away with this. Lila's involved now. He mentioned her. That's crossing a line. Clarissa looked up, determination sharpening her features. We won't. But I need proof, irrefutable evidence tying it back to him. The files show the scheme, but not his direct hand in the tampering. I can help, I said, surprising myself. Back when I was an engineer here, I dealt with data forensics. Give me access remotely securely and I'll dig deeper. She hesitated, then pulled out her laptop from her bag. If we're doing this, we do it now, before he suspects. We worked through the night at my kitchen table, Lila asleep in her room. I used old scripts I'd written years ago, cross-referencing timestamps and IP logs buried in the metadata. Clarissa watched occasionally, fetching coffee, black no sugar for both of us. As hours ticked by, patterns emerged, transfers from hidden accounts all routed through servers Mark had exclusive access to. Then the smoking gun, a deleted email chain recovered from fragments where Mark instructed a shadowy consultant. Make it look like Weller's idea. Bury the trails. By 4 a.m., we had undeniable proof of Mark's embezzlement and sabotage. Clarissa leaned back, exhaling. You just saved my company and me. I rubbed my eyes, exhaustion mixing with relief. I did it for Lila and maybe for you too. She reached across the table, her hand brushing mine. Why risk this? You could have walked away. Because you saw me that night at the gala. Not the coordinator, not the widower, just me. No one's done that since Sarah. Her fingers lingered. I've been alone so long I forgot what real looks like. A soft knock interrupted Lila, rubbing her eyes, patting in with a drawing clutched in her hand. Dad, I couldn't sleep. I made this for you and Ms. Clarissa. It was a crayon sketch, 3 figures holding hands under a sunny sky labeled Team Awesome. Lila beamed. You and her are the best team, like superheroes. Clarissa's eyes softened, a tear slipping down. She knelt to Lila's level. This is beautiful, sweetie. Can I keep it? Lila nodded vigorously. Yes, so you remember we're friends. As Lila hugged her, something shifted in the room, a warmth courting through the rain outside. I watched, heart swelling. For the first time since Sarah, I didn't feel alone. The next day, armed with our evidence, Clarissa called an emergency board meeting. I wasn't invited, but she texted updates. Presenting now. Then, Mark's face priceless. Finally, he's out, fired on the spot, FBI tipped off. When she arrived at my door that evening, dry this time, she pulled me into a hug. You didn't just expose him, you gave me back control and showed me trust isn't a weakness. The board had praised her transparency, turning a potential scandal into a PR win. And me, she offered a new role overseeing company culture, ensuring no one else fell through the cracks like I had. But more than that, as we sat with Lila, eating takeout pizza, laughing at her stories, I realized this wasn't just about saving a company. It was about finding each other in the wreckage. Clarissa glanced at me over Lila's head, her smile genuine. We're a good team, she whispered. I nodded, feeling a depth I hadn't known in years. Not colleagues anymore, something more. 3 months flew by in a blur of board meetings, late-night strategy sessions, and the quiet rhythm of rebuilding. Everin Dynamics emerged stronger from the Clara 9 scandal. Clarissa's decision to go public with the internal audit turned potential disaster into a beacon of corporate transparency. Headlines praised her leadership, stocks rebounded, and the FBI hauled Mark Hensley away in cuffs. As for me, she created a new position, oversight for company culture, ensuring no one else got lost in the shadows like I had. It wasn't glamorous, but it felt right, using my experiences to make the place more human. Clarissa and I grew closer, not in rushed leaps, but steady steps. We'd meet for coffee black. No sugar, talking about everything from app updates to Lila's latest school projects. She started joining us for dinners her penthouse traded for my cramped kitchen table. Lila adored her, calling her Aunt Risa at first, then just Risa, with that easy affection kids have. One evening, as Clarissa helped Lila with homework, I watched them laugh over a math problem, and something in my chest loosened a knot I'd carried since Sarah's death. The year-end meeting arrived, the ballroom transformed from the gala's opulence to something warmer. Softer lights, no alcohol, just coffee and a sense of shared purpose. I sat in the front row with Lila beside me, her small hand in mine. Clarissa took the stage, poised as ever, but her eyes found us immediately. She spoke of challenges overcome, lessons learned, then paused, microphone in hand. "I once made a joke on this very stage," she said, her voice steady but laced with emotion, "about marrying someone in this room. It was impulsive, unprofessional. But today, if I ask again, it's no joke." The room hushed. She looked right at me. "Caleb Reed, would you marry me?" No laughter this time, no whispers. Just a profound silence broken only by Lila's excited gasp. I stood heart-pounding and met her gaze. "Yes," I said simply. "I would." Applause erupted slow at first, then thunderous. People stood cheering, not just for us, but for the unexpected joy in a place that had seen too much strain. Lila jumped up, hugging my leg. "Dad, we're a family now." Clarissa stepped down, tears glistening as she pulled us both into an embrace. "We already are," she whispered. That night back in my apartment, we skipped the fancy restaurants. Instead, I cooked pasta simple with sauce from a jar the way Lila liked it. Clarissa set the table, laughing as Lila bossed her around. "No, the forks, go there." We ate under the dim kitchen light, stories flowing easily. Lila pulled out her crayon drawing from months ago, the three of us under a sunny sky, and taped it to the fridge. "See, I knew it," she said proudly. As Lila drifted off to bed, Clarissa and I sat on the couch, her head on my shoulder. "I never thought I'd find this," she admitted softly. "After 2 failed marriages, I built walls. But you saw through them without trying." I squeezed her hand. "And you saw me when no one else did. Not the widower scraping by, but just Caleb. For Lila, for us, it's worth every risk." We talked late into the night about blending our worlds, her penthouse views meeting my cozy routines, boardrooms, and school pickups. The pain of my past with Sarah lingered a quiet ache, but it didn't define me anymore. Clarissa had her scars too, loneliness masked by power, but together we were healing. Looking at that drawing on the fridge, I realized that impulsive joke hadn't just changed my life, it had rewritten it. From a single dad fading into the background to a man with a partner who challenged and cherished me, and a daughter who now had 2 people to call family. Love didn't arrive with fanfare. It slipped in through a crack, sparked by a moment no one took seriously. As rain tapped the window, a gentle lullaby to our new beginning, I knew we'd face more storms. But with Clarissa and Lila by my side, I was ready. That joke on the stage, it wasn't the end of a punchline. It was the start of everything real.